right, welcome back in. Just another football show. Saturday night football. Is there a theme for? There you go. That works.
Saturday.
Probably the
S-A-T-U-Y-D-A-Y.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
All
think
these are good games.
This is the one I think I'm most excited for this weekend. I think
This
this
is
should be a really fun one.
This is a good throwback to the 2018 draft. We got Lamar and Josh Allen in here. It's kind of a fight for the future of the NFL in a little bit of a sort of a way. So very interested to see how this one plays out. I'm much excited because both these teams have been red hot. I know that the Ravens had to exercise some demons, beat the Titans, get that playoff win, but the Bills are working on exercising some demons of their own. So it's going to be a good one. I know that both teams are going to be fired up and ready to go. And I am fired up to watch it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Should be a barn burner, I think. I hope. Fingers crossed.
With this particular segment of the show, two of our favorite fans coming on.
Two of our favorite interviews.
We've got Bills fan Matt coming your way first.
So if you're looking for a short episode, this ain't it.
This ain't the one. And we're going to talk to Ravens fan Steve. So should be a really good one. Look forward to it. Matt's already trying to call, so let's just answer the phone and see what's up with Bills fan Matt. All right, he's back. We had to have him back. He's always around for us to talk to. He's willing to talk. Doesn't even have to be Bills, but we're always talking Bills when we have Matt on the phone.
Sometimes outside of a pizza ranch.
Well, there was that one time outside of a pizza ranch, and it was a simpler time.
Austin, Minnesota.
It was a simpler time.
He knows exactly where he was.
Home of the Austin Cougars.
What?
I have no idea.
He's making shit up.
If you didn't say what, everyone would have believed me.
Except for the Packers fans.
Well, who cares?
The Austin Packers, man. I'll tell you what. The better option, if you're going to talk about Austin, Minnesota, is just to say, oh, yeah, the home of Spam. And then everyone just assumes you know exactly what you're talking about. That is their claim to fame.
Pro tip.
I'm writing that one down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. How's it going after the big playoff win? I don't know if we consider it like exercising demons or whatever, but getting that playoff win, the monkey off the back, you got to be feeling pretty good, right?
I'll tell you what. This is going to sound really weird, and I understand that the vast majority of Bills Mafia is not necessarily going to agree with me. There's a part of me that it felt better to just not let a Hail Mary happen than it was to just win the game overall. Like, winning the game was great. But, like, as soon as I saw them setting up for a Hail Mary, I was like, no, not again. They already took away a fumble from us. They already are trying to screw us over. We can't.
Hey, they gave you that timeout back.
They did give us the timeout back, but that's in the rule book, so they had to. I read the rule book.
Inside cover to cover.
Yeah, I actually did. I have it. If you ever show up to the keg stand for a game, I have it printed up. And if you want to take a look at it, if you have any questions about things, that's one of my roles there. But yeah, it felt good to get that out. It felt good to win a game where we definitely didn't play our best ball. That's something that I've seen the teams in this league that have been good for a while do for a long time. That's something I see the Patriots do regularly. That's something I see the Packers do regularly, the Saints. So it's nice to see my team doing that same thing of a game where we definitely had some things we could improve. We definitely didn't play our best, but we got the W. And that is all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, you mentioned if we come out to the keg stand and, the COVID year ruined some plans that I had because my 49ers were matched up against you guys on Monday night, and even the way the game went, it would have been a blast. But my first reaction, the moment that the clocks hit double zeros on that game was, man, I wish I could be there right now. See the inside of this place. Because we had an absolute blast when we went out for the playoffs game last year. And that was a losing effort. To just wish that we could have been there with you guys and, felt the energy that you guys had, to see your reaction to your team finally getting this monkey off their back and winning the first postseason game in, Jesus Christ, who knows how long.
Well, I don't know how much he had to do with it, but it definitely was great. I've been sitting outside just because of, COVID and everything. That's an extra precaution that I take. So I was sitting outside. But, yeah, the energy in that place, was just absolutely next level. People were being good. They were being respectful, wearing the masks and wearing at their tables, things like that. But, social distancing might have been broken just gently for a hug or two. There might have been some tears shed, and whatnot. But yeah, it was an electric feeling. And it really kind of was just exactly what you said, that monkey off the back, that this thing that hasn't happened. A lot of people said it wouldn't happen. It happened. It's real life. They can't take it from us now. On to the next. Let's go.
And on to the next is where I was going to go with this question. You talk about the energy level and the excitement, and we did it and all those emotions. How do you think Buffalo, the team now, responds to all of that? Yes, we did it. We got this playoff win, something that so many teams before us could not do. We know that we're going in the right direction. We have a big, big matchup against Baltimore coming up. How do they handle all of this? How do they come out after all of this?
I think one of the things that helped us was that we sealed up our playoff berth and our division win early. We did it in week 15 against the Broncos. And in the aftermath of that game, in the locker room, Josh Allen, addressing the team, said, "This shirt and this hat says division champs is all fine and dandy, but I want one that says effing Super Bowl champs." And so I think that's the mindset that they've continued to carry is, there's something else that we're fighting for. We're excited. We're happy. We're going to, spend some time being joyful for this thing. But at the same time, we know that there's something else bigger that we want, that we have to get to. And I think this past weekend was actually really good for us. I think that a lot of teams will have a bit of a letdown game once they make the big show. Maybe they won't play the best. Maybe they'll let Taylor Heineke, just show up their entire defense that they've spent an entire year planning to be able to answer those sorts of things. And an XFL quarterback is just going to come in and spank them. But people have those down games. And I think that showed us that, look, everyone's good now. We don't get the Patriots again. We don't get the Dolphins again. We're playing good teams now. And we have to be ready every single week and every single play. So I think that with it being that close and that tough of a game was the best thing for us when it comes to moving forward.
I think that was low-key the best shot you could have ever taken at the Patriots.
I line them up and I knock them down.
You sure did, sir. You said it and I laughed a lot.
And Buffalo fans have been waiting to get a shot on the Patriots for a while, so they're coming, and there's no remorse now. But I was worried for a second in that Bills-Colts game that we were going to see a letdown game from the Bills, who had been red hot all season. The buzzsaw, they've been killing everyone. They started off a little bit sluggish. Indy actually outpaced them. They got better. Almost all the stats in the game were in Indy's favor. They had more first downs, better time of possession. But Buffalo was able to pull it out. They were gritty when they needed to. Josh Allen was able to kind of step up. So why do you think they were kind of slow coming out of the gate? Because everything seemed to be in their favor, but they were a little sluggish.
Yeah, everything was in their favor, I think, in a lot of different ways. But I think that our offensive scheme, and shout out to Brian Daboll, who the only level of hope that I have for retaining him is maybe if we can make it to the Super Bowl, everyone will have already hired their new head coaches by then. But shout out to Brian Daboll with just his spectacular plan. I think he called it a little bit conservative just to settle us in. Because there definitely were going to be those emotions of, okay, we got in, we've been rolling, we're at home, we finally have fans in the stands, let's go and light this up. And I think that's where you can kind of get some of those more unhinged, some of those more forced off schedule plays where really we just want to settle in, see what they're doing defensively, figure out how they're trying to address this, as you called it, buzzsaw that's been going through the league the last several weeks. And then take whatever they're giving us and turn it against them. and hurt them with it. And I think that's what you saw with our last couple of drives in the first half is us figuring out, okay, this is what they're doing. This is how we can attack it. I mean, especially after the Colts failed on that 4th down from the 4, and we had 96 yards ahead of us at about 2 minutes on the clock. And we were methodical. I have seen less precision in a surgery room than we had on the field on that drive. Like, that was just, we know what you're doing. We know how we're going to beat it. And we're going to look a little flashy doing it because we can. And Gabriel Davis, the rookie, I might add, the rookie out of national champion UCF, just absolutely put on a clinic on the sidelines. So I think that's why you saw us get slow out the gate, because we wanted to see how they were going to address us, how they were going to slow us down, how they were going to attack our offense. And as soon as we figured out even a sliver of what we could do against them, the exploitation of that was phenomenal. And I think we scored on like 5 of the next 6 drives once we figured out what we were going to do.
There was a weird narrative that I was kind of following watching this game is, yes, Buffalo kind of started off with a little bit of a slow start and they got hot. But throughout this game, they were sort of hot and then cold and then hot and then cold. And it was what they were good at doing and were able to do, like you said, how methodically they marched right down the field and scored that touchdown with under 2 minutes. The drives that they were cold, they sort of got away from playing football that way. And then when they wanted to pick it back up, they just did. So maybe it was a little bit of playing Kansas City ball where we're going to try some other things, but we know we can score when we want to. So is there any worry, any thought in your mind that, you know, if Buffalo comes out and I don't want to say be cute with it, but tries a little bit of, hey, this is working, but let's see if we can't force this other stuff as well against Baltimore, that they're not going to be able to have the same success they did against the Colts?
I definitely see that. There is always a worry in the back of my head, and this is even backed up a little bit by some statistics, that when we get a little too cute, we put ourselves in some tough positions. So this is a fun statistic for you. In Josh Allen's career, the Buffalo Bills are 0-2 when he has a receiving touchdown. That was last year in the playoffs and this year against Arizona. Here's the thing, though. We are 17-0 when he has both a passing and a rushing touchdown in the same game. 17-0 over the last 3 years. So when we stick to what we know best, when we don't try to do those, you know, more crazy things, we really can do great. Now, I mentioned that the second of those 0-2, the second of those receiving touchdowns came against Arizona. When you want to talk about our offense clicking, our offense rolling, it's been since the Arizona game. There was some in the Arizona game, but especially after the Arizona game, we were rolling. And I think part of it is that bye week and having that sour taste and horrible taste in our mouth for 2 weeks really forced us to say, okay, what are we doing well? What are we doing great? And what do we need to get away from? And we've gotten away from some of those, you know, fancy, crazier things. And we're just focusing now on laying back, waiting for our moment, and then taking dagger shots when those moments are presented.
Yeah, and those moments do present themselves because people get scared of the Buffalo offense, and they then they get exploited. Brian Dable, a guy that you were just talking about, who you know, you're hoping can retain there, and a lot of teams hoping that you don't. Is very good at what he does, right? And he's able to kind of draw things up a little bit different. I think it was a good observation by you that maybe they were just feeling it out at the beginning of the game, and then when they flipped the switch, it was 4 of their final 5 drives they were able to score points on, you know, field goals, touchdowns in there, some with like lethal accuracy, a minute and a half long drive that goes 96 yards. Like, come on, how are you going to stop that? So
yeah.
Any concern here that Zach Moss is now out for the remainder of the season? He had that, I believe, ankle injury. Didn't look good, was carted off the field in the game. So now it's the Devin Singletary show. Any concern there?
It is the Devin Singletary show, but we have to remember the other pieces we have. The Bills just added Devontae Freeman today.
That's interesting.
And so, yeah, which he has a very similar play style, I think, to Devin Singletary. But we also have some other pieces. Isaiah McKenzie in the run game, when he gets involved, has been pretty deadly at different points, especially teams that we feel like we can go side to side with. And then Antonio Williams is a guy that we saw at the end of the season against the Dolphins, who just absolutely gashed them. I believe over 100 yards. I know he had 2 touchdowns. So we've got some other guys that we haven't had to go that deep into the bag of tricks yet. And so am I worried about it? Yeah, Zach Moss is a great player, and he's going to be great for us for a long time. I'm just, I'm thankful that it doesn't seem like it's going to be, this year and next. But yeah, it definitely hurts us, and it definitely is going to change up how we game plan, because he was that goal line bruiser that you need 1 yard, he's going to get it type of guy. So it definitely is going to hurt having him out of the game plan.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily been a huge part of the Bills' offense this year for the running backs to run, but it has been for Josh Allen to run. We did see the Baltimore Ravens able to shut down Derrick Henry very effectively. I think they kept him at around 60 yards, maybe 50, 60 yards. How do you think that the run game and the varied forms that it takes for Buffalo, I think they're going to shape up against Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams, and a pretty stout Baltimore D?
And that's exactly the thing, is the varied form that our run game can take. You give us the opportunity, we will run it down your throats. We saw that with the first matchup with the Patriots this year. We saw that at the end of the season against the number 1 scoring defense at the time, the Miami Dolphins. You give us those lanes and opportunities, you sell out to stop the pass and give us, light boxes, we'll take that. But at the same time, I don't think that's the game plan for the Ravens. The Ravens are a very well-coached team. They're a very good team. And I don't think the coaching staff is going to look at us the same way that they looked at the Titans. They're going to say, okay, if we can shut down the run game, we can hold this team down. Whereas I think it'll be the opposite with us. I think that they will sell out to take away those Josh Allen passes. I think he'll be looking at 6, 7, maybe even sometimes 8 guys in coverage that he has to maneuver around with. But I think there's some room within that defensive scheme for Josh Allen to find, some underneath throws. Just get it to your playmaker and let them go. Cole Beasley said today that he's feeling better than he did last week. So he's looking to come back to close to 100%. Stephon Diggs obviously could do a lot once he gets the ball in his hands. So I think it'll be a situation where there just isn't enough room for them to take that away. And if they do, I'll take a Josh Allen 8-yard run on 1st and 10, because when you're able to stay ahead of schedule, like the Bills have been able to do, even when defenses have been slowing them down, when they're able to, stay within the sticks, you really put the defense in a tough spot of, do we try to defend the run on, 2nd and 2, or do we try to take away the deep shot, or do we try to do a mix of both and never really protect either? I think they'll have a great game plan, but I think that there is a chance that there's just too many different ways that we could attack them. And if we could figure out some tendencies and things like that, like we did with the Colts, I think we will have more success than we won't.
All right, Matt, do you know how this works? Give me a pick. Give me a score. Are we talking to you next week?
Well, yeah, you're definitely talking to me next week, obviously. What in the world is that question? Golly.
I just have to ask the question.
Do you?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
contractually forced upon you?
Journalism.
That's not unbiased.
We have to get you on record.
The bias comes next week, hopefully, when your team's playing mine.
That's
when I'm throwing shade at you, and I'm gonna make you wait on hold for 20 minutes.
Now, here's the thing. I think that
that's the hold music.
Shut up. Go ahead, Matt.
Y'all figure it out on your end?
Yeah,
you got it? You good now? Okay.
Doubtful.
Someone need a hug? All right. But here's the thing. I think our defense is going to really show up this week. I think our defense got a little embarrassed, a little frustrated last week, and they're going to realize, okay, everybody, is on this, but Lamar Jackson is absolutely electric. I think that to hold them under 20, to predict holding them under 20 would be a fool's errand. But I do think the Bills come out on top. I think this is a 31-27 game. Bills on top.
All right. We'll give everyone our predictions on Friday, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. See how it goes. All right.
Absolutely.
Matt, you know how this works. If you win, we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys probably next Tuesday then.
All right, man. Sounds great. Thanks for the time.
You bet.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. So now I get to welcome on Steve. Steve, your Ravens pulled out I don't want to call it an upset. They were favored. But lots of picks going either way and a really fun game to watch. How you feeling coming off that Titans game?
I'll tell you what, we needed to get them back from what they did to us earlier this season,
Yes,
stopping on our goddamn middle of the field emblem and whatnot. What do you want to call it? I don't know what you call it. But and get them back for that playoff loss we had last year.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good.
Had revenge on the mind, and they succeeded in it. So
they definitely did.
Always a good thing. Are you surprised that you are going to be on a flight to Buffalo after the events of Sunday? I expected to see you guys in Arrowhead this week.
Dude, I thought so for sure, but at the same time, I honestly thought both wildcard teams had a chance to win. You know, I thought the Colts might have been able to pull it off. I also thought, I honestly thought the Browns would, and sure as shit, the Browns fucking, I don't even know how to describe that game. That was just a shit show by the Steelers.
A 100% a shit show. That is the perfect way to describe that game. So, I mean, you know what they say? There are a lot of people high riding on the Bills right now.
And mightily so.
Yeah, rightfully so. I put a little nugget of money on them to win the AFC and to win the Super Bowl. More maybe as a reverse jinx. I'll let you guys decide what that is. But I'm a little worried, Steve. Hear me out now.
All right.
We talked about the Titans and their terrible, terrible defense.
Yes, sir.
It took y'all a while to get going. I mean, once you did, maybe you looked a little bit better, but 20 points. I don't know that 20 points are going to get it done against Buffalo.
You know, I totally hear you there, and I'm not going to lie. Everybody on the team went into this game thinking they had to fucking pull it off. Otherwise, it was just going to be a failure on everybody. Yep. So I think now that we got that bugaboo off our back and now that we got that pressure off, I think it's going to be a different story, especially with Buffalo, who, I'm not going to lie, I think we match up a little better with than Tennessee.
I won't disagree with you. I don't want to step on anything coming our way on Friday, but this Buffalo Bills defense, we saw this week, you know, they can be run on. Jonathan Taylor had himself quite an afternoon. So, you know, pitting strengths and weaknesses here. Man, the Ravens can run the ball when they want to. That really looks like a juicy matchup if you're a Ravens fan, right?
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to running the ball on that defense. Obviously, Tre'Davious White's going to, shut down the passing game a little bit, but will he be able to, what do you want to say, keep his attention span on the actual game and not fall asleep for some big plays over the top? I mean, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, you got that. That you guys always got that deep threat. You can always send Hollywood Brown down there and wake up those defenses, as it were. So
yes, sir.
We'll see how that one goes. You talked about getting the old the monkey off the back, the bugaboo, whatever you want to call it. Lamar was very fired up in his post game to give his defense credit on winning this game, but multiple interviews even before the game of him talking about, I got to win one. That's the narrative. The narrative is I can't win. We talked about it just last week.
Yep.
And it, to see him being asked about it, him acknowledging it, and him coming out right after the game and saying, this is done. We did this. It's on to the next game. That's got to make you feel pretty good, right?
I'm telling you what, dude, honestly, the way Lamar Jackson has come about being way more mature than I ever thought he would have been coming out of college, just the way he handles the media and everybody else and all the interviews and stuff. It really is refreshing to see him really have that kind of stronghold on his mental, if you will. The way he goes about every single week. I mean, I can't ask for anything else out of my quarterback than that.
Yeah, it's amazing because he really did sort of come out of this game talking to media, and he came off slightly pissed off, and rightfully so, because the first question is about him versus Derrick Henry, not his team or about him.
Exactly.
But he also still managed to, show that he was pissed off, but do it in a way that, as you said, made him look good above all else, and that you can't ask for much more from
Yes.
the leader of your football team.
Yes, mature and motivated. I'm going to give that. I'm going to put that word on it. He's motivated.
Oh, absolutely.
He wants to get this shit done.
Yeah, and I think this whole team's motivated. This whole team sort of got this. We talked about the Browns. We talked about the Bills winning these games and it being, huge steps for those franchises. Been, a very long time since they won playoff games.
Yep.
Low key, I think this was a really big win for the Baltimore Ravens as well.
Yes, this was huge for us. Honestly, when's the last time we actually won a playoff game? 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, and I know there are some fan bases rolling their eyes at that, but
oh no shit.
it's still you hate to see it from some of the other fan bases, but when you come to expect wins and good football, especially as good of football as we've seen Baltimore play these last couple seasons, I don't have all of our predictions in front of us, but we all had them winning that division, very high seed, and now here they go going into the opportunity to head to the AFC Championship game. So everything in the season that's happened up to this point that hasn't necessarily been in their favor just sort of is a wash because it's now, right?
Yep. Now we're 1-0. Now
Exactly.
It's pretty much you bring your lunch pail and hard hat to the goddamn field and you get after it.
So let's talk about this matchup with the Buffalo Bills because I think it's going to be a fun one. This one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yes.
I was shocked when they put the old schedule out for this weekend prior to that Browns-Steelers game, and the Bills were scheduled for the nightcap on Saturday. I really expected them to assume that was going to be the Lamar Mahomes game and that game to be the Saturday night game. But I think they managed to get the best game of the weekend. Talk for how do you think you line up defensively with this Buffalo Bills team that themselves looked a little lackluster last week as opposed to what they've done? They've sort of buzzsawed through their opponents up to this point, but looked a little slower last week. You got to find a way to stop those wide receivers.
Yep.
Well, how do you feel going into that situation?
Well, I'll tell you what. Number one, it all starts with shutting down the run. And I know I can't remember if I saw on Facebook or where it was, but I thought I saw that Zach Moss, did he get injured last week?
Yeah, Zach Moss is done for the year. They brought in
Freeman.
Yes.
Yep, Devontae Freeman. I was wondering why they brought him in, but it must be a
squad
bad deal.
rules or wheel. Yeah, he's done for the season. I believe it was a torn something. He's done for the year. I mean, we've seen Singletary in a starter role get it done. It's nice to have that 1-2 punch, which is why they brought in Freeman. But we'll see how that affects their game planning. I think that they're going to try to attack through the air, have Josh Allen do his thing, which might be to their detriment at a certain point. But I don't know.
I'm saying what I'm thinking is if we just make sure that we shut them down in early downs and make them play from behind the chains and make it like a second or third and, 7 to 10. If we put them in those kind of situations, I think we're going to be all right. However, the obviously you got Stephon Diggs to deal with, and I'm not even going to go to any other receiver on that roster. I think Diggs is an all-star. I think Dalton Knox is finally, coming into his own at the tight end position. But I mean, if we're able to pin our ears back and know that they're just going to pass all game, I think we're finally maybe going to see some fucking pressure out of this defense for once this year.
Yeah, and we've seen the Josh Allen that when he gets pressured, and we've seen some bad decisions. It's been a while. Yep. It was early in the season and last season that really that was more of an issue. He's been pretty clean since early this season, but I don't know that we've seen a team get to him the way that, like you said, I think the Baltimore Ravens can get to it.
I think Wink Martindale's he's gonna draw some crafty plays up this week, and I think obviously Josh Allen makes his plays, by extending them. Mm-hmm. He makes those big plays by extending it with his legs. I'm gonna think that Wink Martindale's gonna draw up some blitzes that are gonna be delayed blitzes that are gonna come from the outside to take away pretty much how you would treat Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Bring that extra pressure from the outside a little late, just so when you think it's there, all of a sudden now you got to get rid of that ball real fast. Now we got to force them into turnovers and see if we can't do it to him like that.
Yeah, give me that old quarterback contain if we're going to
Yep.
Madden language.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do with Lamar. It's just, he's a lot more difficult to contain, I think.
A little bit quicker.
Josh Allen is looking to pass the ball when he gets out most times, at least first. Yep. Lamar is just going to tuck it and run, I think.
I'll tell you what, I'm so happy he started doing that at the end of the season.
That run that he had on Sunday, the 49, like he just turned it on and went to another level. I just sat there in awe and went, that's unfair. Like, that dude is fast.
See, I don't even care about how fast he is. It's the fact that I don't plan on it, but it's nice to know that it's in Lamar's back pocket on 3rd and 9 when everything fucking breaks down, that he can go get that 10 yards and extend that drive. It's even better being able to have an idea that he could take that shit to the house at any given moment. And that's what he fucking did with that run.
Yeah, and that's what he does. He's done it so many times this season where all of a sudden it's a 40-yard touchdown run. Like, he just got up the middle, was going to get a first down, and there's no one there. So he's gone all of a sudden. So
that kind those are the kind of plays we're going to need to see out of him pretty much Saturday and the rest of the playoffs if we're going to try to make a run a little deeper than, a lot of people think we're going to make a run for.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. Let's see. This running back situation that you guys got. I know I sort of bugged you about it a little bit last week, but we talked about how they can probably get the run game going. Do you see a lot there, or do you expect more from Lamar?
Well, you know what?
You don't really see a lot of design. You do see a lot of design run from Lamar, but not in the way that you see it from like a Kyler Murray.
Exactly. I'm thinking that they're just letting him do him, just like I said last week. I think, when a play breaks down, I think they're finally saying, hey, we've preserved you all season. Now go be you. That's what they're doing. As for the actual run game, dude, I think this is going to be a crazy game for us. I think J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards are about to do some dirty work this week.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. We saw the one time this year that my Chiefs got their run game going was against these Bills. Yep. I think that's just the plan. You keep Josh Allen off the field, you limit their possessions, and and truck down the field. I think that's the game plan here. So
yes, sir.
All right, Steve, give me your prediction, give me your score. How you feeling coming into this weekend?
All right. Well, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna bank on this one. All right. If there's snow, they're calling for snow.
I'm hearing some snow. I just started reading this. Yeah.
A lot of these guys have not played in snow before, and that kind of worries me. I'm hoping there's no snow, and especially I don't want snow and crazy ass Buffalo Bill fans out there because they're finally letting them into the fucking stadium.
Yes,
bless their state's heart for finally giving Buffalo ain't been to the goddamn playoffs in ever. Let them into the fucking stands. But at the same time, if there's no snow, I'm going to say 27. Oh shit, 27-24. I think it gets one on the last drive. If there's snow, I'm going to say this might be one of the lowest scoring games of the season, but I think the Ravens pull it out, and no matter what, we're going to say 27-24 Ravens, just so I don't get away from my regular. But if it snows, man, I have no clue what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah, we could see some crazy things. Like I said, I was just seeing that in the forecast. I hadn't actually been looking at these things, but apparently there's lots of places calling for it now. So
Yep, and that's I'm kind of scared about it, but you know what? Those are the funnest games to watch, honestly. Especially, I mean, if I want to bring up like the Minnesota Baltimore game where we scored like 30 points in the last like 2.5 minutes of the game. It was nuts, and the snow was crazy up in Minneapolis. But snow games, I'd rather not. But let's see what happens, man.
Yeah, that is true. All right, Steve, if that's the case, I guess, hopefully we're actually talking a Chiefs-Ravens matchup, the one we wanted last year.
That's what I want, buddy. That's what I fucking want. To get to the Super Bowl, we got to go through the Chiefs. Our last fucking step, dude.
We
need to do it.
Tour.
That's what I'm saying, baby. I hope we see you guys next week for sure.
You are not wrong. All right, sir. We appreciate the time and look forward to maybe talking to you next week.
Always, Case. You take it easy, brother. We'll talk to you here a little later.
Same to you. All right, that is going to do it. If you guys are paying attention at home, if you listen to all of these, you've caught on to the fact that we're missing a man or two during the course of these things. We had to split up duty. We had some timing issues, some stuff. Appreciate Fez, our Saints fan, recording twice with me. So make sure you guys are checking all these things out. Like I said, we made them all work out over the course of time. So until the next episode comes out, or if you've missed them, or go back and find them, they're all out there, social media, YouTube, everything. We've been talking about that. Make sure you guys are checking it out, giving us the shares, the likes. We appreciate it, trying to get some eyes on the product, and you guys are our best mode of doing that as of right now. So I guess until next time, I don't have anyone in studio with me, so this has been just another football show. I guess bye.